to 8 p.m. Civic Election 94. Saskatoon, make a difference.
Some car companies promise the moon, but only Chrysler's world-class sales event brings you world-class wheels at down-to-earth prices. Introducing the 95 Chrysler Magic Wagon with dual airbags, side impact beams, air, V6, automatic, 7-passenger seating, and more for this great price. No wonder there's over 4 million Magic Wagons on the road today. Available during Chrysler's world-class sales event at your local Chrysler dealer.
This is CBC Television in Saskatchewan.
Tonight, murder mystery, more bodies found near Saskatoon. Holly's home after a life-saving transplant. And in sports, another CFL team may be on the move.
CBC News Final with Nirmala Naidu-Hill.
Good evening. A man is dead after driving into a train tonight west of Regina. The accident happened a few hours ago in Pense. Police say the 49-year-old man's car hit the freight train at a crossing in town. He was taken to hospital and died a short time later. His name has not been released. The accident is still under investigation. Pense is about 25 kilometers west of Regina. They think they were murdered, but the police say they don't know much more than that. Over the past month, 4 bodies have been found near Saskatoon, 2 of them on the weekend. As Danielle Harder reports, some farmers in the area say the deaths aren't the only mystery.
The RCMP found the remains of a human body in this grave on Saturday. They had found another body the day before, 20 meters away. And 3 weeks earlier, they discovered yet another body, again 20 meters away. 2 of the bodies were those of young women. They'd been there for at least a year and a half. Ed Morgan farms across the road from where the bodies were found.
I feel sorry for whoever they are, and I hope they catch whoever did it, but I'm not worried about ghosts or anything like that.
But Morgan is concerned about a possible connection between these deaths and several strange things that have happened near this site lately.
Somebody's put food out and hung cloth on the trees.
The same thing also happened across the river. A farmer there says he found red cloths hanging from bushes near his farm. He also found a gun nearby. Police say both of these incidents have nothing to do with the current investigation.
There's no indication that on any of the remains there that a gun was used. We've had no indication of that.
Morgan also says the bodies of 2 female prostitutes were found in the same spot several years ago.
I figured they came up here and were competition to the locals. That was a series.
Police say at this point they can't confirm or deny the relationship between these 2 crimes until they know just who these 3 latest victims are. Danielle Harder, CBC News, Saskatoon.
A preliminary hearing for a Saskatoon woman accused of killing her baby is underway. Rosina Ermine is charged with manslaughter. Her 5-month-old son died of head injuries in January. A police investigation began after the woman called 911 from her home. She said the child was having trouble breathing after falling off a bed. He died 3 days later in hospital. The preliminary hearing is expected to last a week. The contract dispute between the city of Saskatoon and thousands of its workers may be over, but relations are getting worse. Some of the unions held a rally over the lunch hour. As Susan Adaskin reports, the workers say their managers are being handed a raise that cost them 10 weeks' pay.
I was a little dismayed.
More bitterness over the 10-week strike and lockout of Civic workers. The workers are enraged. They say non-union staff and managers are being handed the same wage increase and benefits they got, minus the 10 weeks without pay it cost the workers.
And look what they just did, eh? They just handed it to themselves on your backs.
A city official claims the contract for non-union staff isn't the same, but won't give details. The unions are also furious that some managers will receive $20,000 or more for overtime racked up during the dispute.
And there's a select few that really went at it in a big way. and stuffed their pockets at $35 an hour with the money that we were being denied while we were out there.
The unions point to this as proof the city had the money to pay the 2.5% increase the unions wanted in the first place. In addition, Tim Correll has just found evidence there were surpluses and cost overruns in the police budget.
That goes to prove that all this was about union bashing, and you people stood up against that, and I'm damn proud of you.
The city claims a surplus in one department couldn't change the overall deficit. The workers don't buy it. They say the mayor and most councillors tried to break the unions.
And these people deserve to be booted out on their asses for that.
The unions are urging workers to campaign and vote for a new city council in this week's civic election. Susan Adaskin, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Atomic Energy of Canada says it solved the problem of getting rid of the country's nuclear waste. It wants to bury the material in the Canadian Shield, which includes part of Saskatchewan. The proposal's in a report not scheduled to be released until Wednesday, but opponents are already attacking the idea as unsafe. Well, another report hasn't been released yet, a report on gambling we told you about on Friday. The province's Conservatives are accusing the government of delay tactics. They say the document embarrasses the NDP. Dean Goutal has the story.
Susan can spend hours simply doodling on paper. It's one way to keep her mind off an addiction to gambling. Susan, who won't reveal her last name, doesn't gamble anymore, but she's worried about others. Susan says the NDP has put a lot of effort into gambling expansion, but she says it hasn't put the same effort into treating addicted gamblers.
And you're making a lot of money off the gambling, but look at what you're doing. Like, your recovery program sucks. It just isn't helping.
A report that hasn't been made public yet apparently agrees. Commissioned by the province, sources say it criticizes the government's approach to education and treatment of gambling addiction. The report is expected to be released later this week, after Wednesday's civic elections, and after Saskatoon's plebiscite. It will ask citizens if they want a casino in the city.
We need to look at ways in which we can help people so that we're...
The opposition Tories say if the public sees the report before then, it could alter the vote, and that's why the report is being delayed.
If they commissioned a study, if the study's been available to them and available to the minister, why it wasn't released, not today, but yesterday?
But late this afternoon, the gaming minister said the report is delayed because of spelling and factual errors, not because of Saskatoon's casino vote. As for the criticisms, Eldon Laudermilk says he didn't expect a glowing report. He said he knew the commission would find pros and cons to the gambling issue. Laudermilk says the report will likely be released Thursday. Dean Goutal, CBC News, Regina.
Thieves thinking about shoplifting at the Bay may want to think again. If caught, they'll have to face a judge not once, but twice. The Bay has begun charging shoplifters $325 on top of filing criminal charges. The store says that once people are found guilty, it'll take them to civil court and sue. And if the shoplifter is a youngster, it says it'll sue the parents. The store says the money will help cover losses caused by shoplifting. The Metis Society is getting some money from the federal government again. Earlier this year, Ottawa and the province froze funding after an audit of the organization's books. Mark Genuist reports.
It started a rebellion among the Métis people of Saskatchewan. Last spring, auditors discovered a financial mess at the Metis Society. The Métis get about $2.5 million from the federal and provincial governments to run their offices. The Métis leadership couldn't account for more than $1 million in taxpayers' money, so the governments froze all funding. Now the Métis have convinced the federal government to start giving them some money so they can pay some of their debts. The Métis have told Ottawa they're being hounded by their creditors. They've run up bills of about $200,000, money they owe to hotels, car companies, and about 75 other businesses across the country. Ottawa has decided to give the Métis some money, about $140,000. That decision was made today. The Métis won't be able to spend the money as they wish. All checks have to be approved by the auditors in charge of the Métis books. The Métis are also asking Ottawa to give them more money. They want to start running their organization again. But so far, neither the province nor Ottawa have decided what to do about this latest demand. Mark Genuist, CBC News, Saskatoon.
In Regina, planned changes are now in place at a heavy oil upgrader that's heavily in debt. Ottawa, the government of Saskatchewan, and Federated Co-op have signed a new deal. They've agreed to spend $235 million on reducing the upgrader's debt. Ottawa has added another $125 million so it can walk away from the joint project. The deal leaves the province and the co-op solely responsible for the upgrader's finances. The refinery is still losing money and is still hundreds of millions of dollars in the red. Holly Rist is home. The 8-year-old had a bone marrow transplant in BC only 3 months ago. And now, as Shauna Kelly tells us, she's back on her family's farm near Kendall.
Holly Rist will be spending a lot of time doing homework on this computer. After 3 months at a Vancouver hospital, she's home, recovering from a bone marrow transplant. She can't go to school at all this year.
That's where there is a lot of bacteria and viruses, is in gatherings like that, especially of kids. So we'll tutor her at home.
Holly has spent a lot of time away from home and in hospital. She was diagnosed with severe aplastic anemia in July of last year. That means her body doesn't produce the red and white blood cells she needs. On August 8th in Vancouver, bone marrow was removed from an unidentified 29-year-old man. The marrow was then transferred to Holly the same way a blood transfusion is.
Physically, I mean, she's not going to be going to climb mountains and physical sports yet, but the raw vegetable thing is kind of getting on her. They don't allow you to eat raw vegetables for 100 days after transplant, and she was quite the vegetable person, so she's not eating them.
Holly doesn't say much about her sickness. She still has to take medication, and she has to be extremely careful to avoid an infection. So that means some changes for her family.
I guess it's just a healthier way of living, getting into a better routine of, just cleaning up a little bit, vacuuming more often, keeping the dust down. Other than that, I mean, you can't live in a glass bubble.
Holly is spending time getting reacquainted with her pets and with her brother and sister.
They were hugs and kisses right away and excited to have her back. And it lasted for a couple of hours, and they had a little spat, and they're back to normal now again, brother and sister thing.
Holly returns to Vancouver next month for a checkup. While she's not out of the woods yet, her parents say it's a good sign that she's already back home, where they expect she'll heal even faster. Shauna Kelly, CBC News, near Kendall.
We're still a few minutes away from sports, but Glenn Reed's in the newsroom to tell us what's coming up.
And Nirmala will have highlights from the NFL Monday Nighter. The Houston Oilers in Philadelphia tonight to play the Eagles. We'll have the future of the gold miners in Sacramento and a new look for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Thanks, Glenn. Well, it's a cool night in Saskatchewan. Howard Thornton will have details and the latest forecast next.
Help decide the future of our city and our schools. Make your voice heard in the South Downtown Casino issue. Vote for the candidates of your choice in the election of our mayor, councillors, and school board trustees. Your vote does make a difference, so be sure to vote on Civic Election Day, October 26th. Polls open 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Civic Election 94. Saskatoon, make a difference.
Mining has meant a boost to the town of La Ronge.
The town seems to be changing from almost a welfare-based economy to an industrial or mining-based economy.
A town in transition, Wednesday at 6 on the CBC News Hour.
Boy, did you give us talk back when you heard the interview I did today with Diane Francis. Well, just wait till you hear what she has to say tomorrow. Please join me 6 to 9 on CBC Radio.
For the most impressive things along life's highway, you need only look to nature. For the most impressive way to appreciate the view, you need only look to Acura. A sophisticated balance of performance, reliability, and quality craftsmanship. Acura, engineered in a driving sense to bring heaven a lot closer to Earth.
One mouthwash can crow about leaving your mouth tingly clean because it has the germ-killing power of Listerine. And that's Cool Mint Listerine. Wakey, wakey! Cool Mint Listerine. There's no better way to wake up a foul mouth.
Well, Howard, it wasn't the warmest weekend, but it was a really nice sunny day today, and it's going to last, isn't it?
It looks as though we should have sunshine for the next few days, and it looks as though temperatures will be up to around normal, which is highs around 12 degrees, but it will be very windy over the next day or so.
I can handle that.
Oh, you bet. We'll take a look at current conditions. Well, there you see the current conditions, and we're headed for lows of around -4, -5 degrees, somewhere around there. And in some areas along the western side could be a touch cooler than that. Here we start off with our satellite shot 12 hours ago, mainly clear skies through Alberta and Saskatchewan. The cloud moves in toward northern Saskatchewan from a low-pressure system over in British Columbia. Clear skies throughout Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, and that's because of a high-pressure system. And we'll show you that on our systems map. It shows up here just south of the Saskatchewan-Manitoba border. Over the next 24 hours, this high-pressure system begins to move in a southeasterly direction, and it's joined by another high-pressure system. So that's going to keep the skies mainly clear throughout most of the prairie provinces. Some cloud in the north because of that low-pressure system. Those two systems will fight one another, and that will produce strong winds over the next 24 hours, gusting up to around 50 kilometers an hour during the day tomorrow. Here's the official forecast, starting off with southern Saskatchewan, Regina, Moose Jaw, Rockland, and Weyburn. Tonight, clear skies, light winds, and lows of -5. Tomorrow, sunshine, winds south at 30, winds gusting up to 50 kilometers an hour, highs of 12 degrees. For Wednesday, sunny, windy, and 13. And Thursday, sunny with a few cloudy periods and highs of 10. Central Saskatchewan, Saskatoon, Prince Albert, Kindersley, Rosetown. Clear skies tonight. Winds will be light and lows of -3. Tomorrow, sunshine. Winds south at 30 and highs of 11. For Wednesday, sunny with a few cloudy periods and 11. And Thursday, a few cloudy periods and highs of 9. And for the north, tonight, a few clouds. Winds south at 20, lows of -3. Tomorrow, sun in the morning, cloud in the afternoon. Winds south at 30 and highs of 6. Wednesday, mainly cloudy and highs of 8 degrees. It'll be windy as well. And Thursday, mainly cloudy and highs around 7 degrees. So temperatures near normal for the next day or two, and some sunshine by and large for the province.
Good news.
You
Great.
bet.
Thanks, Howard. After the break, the miners could be digging for gold somewhere else.
I love it when people see the savings at Walmart for the first time. When they take an item off the shelf and realize it's not a sale price, it's our price every day. We always try to give you our best price on everything. But what really makes Walmart Walmart is we never stop trying to do better. So our prices keep getting lower. The look on your face when you see those savings, that makes me smile every time.
Jubilee Ford is offering the most incredible year-end snowblower deal. Buy a new snowblower and we'll give you a new 94 absolutely free. Buy one for $12,500 and we'll give you a 94 Tempo Max loaded, no charge. Buy one for $18,500 and we'll give you a 94 Aerosport van loaded with the equipment, absolutely free. It's our total year-end snowblower sale with our lowest prices ever. The snowblowers are free? The snowblowers are free, not the vehicles. We'll make a new commercial.
Help decide the future of our city and our schools. Make your voice heard in the South Downtown Casino issue. Vote for the candidates of your choice in the election of our mayor, councillors, and school board trustees. Your vote does make a difference, so be sure to vote on Civic Election Day, October 26th. Polls open 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Civic Election 94. Saskatoon, make a difference.
It's so peaceful during harvest.
Rake in a no-charge CD player or power windows and locks on selected 95 Escorts. The big bumper crop sale at your Ford and Mercury dealer today.
Turn it down! The colors in this bumper crop are just beautiful.
Cultivate great deals at the Minivan Center on 94s. The 95s are arriving. The big bumper crop sale at your Ford and Mercury dealer today.
Mocha Clear Coat Metallic, Bimini Blue, Electric Red.
Well, Glenn, the CFL can't seem to catch a break, can they?
Yeah, they got this new line dance going. It's one step forward and two steps back. Last winter was the season of growth in the CFL. 3 American expansion teams jumped into the fold this winter. Unfortunately, this winter they'll be spent patching holes. Hamilton will likely lose its Tiger Cats. Las Vegas definitely lose the Posse. But will anyone notice? Well, you can now officially add the Gold Miners to the on-the-move list. The owner of the Gold Miners, Fred Anderson, announced tonight that his team will not be in Sacramento next year after 2 money-losing seasons in the California city. He said Civic officials won't help him build a new stadium, which he desperately needs to make a go of it in Sacramento. He has 3 potential sites to where he could move his team. One might be Oakland. Anderson's words tonight are not that far off from what he said in Regina just a few weeks ago.
As well, and takes the ball.
I'm losing an awful lot of money, and everyone knows that, and I can't do it indefinitely. But it appears this year will be about the same as last year as far as losses go. I'd like to keep it there. Sacramento's the town that I was raised in, and I always plan to have it there. I plan to have a new stadium under construction by now. I don't, but I haven't made up my mind, and I'm not kidding you a bit there. I just have not made up my mind yet what I'm going to do.
Well, the Ottawa Rough Riders have added a former NFL and Heisman Trophy-winning quarterback to their practice roster, Andre Ware, who won the Heisman in '89. As the best U.S. college player, spent 4 seasons with the Detroit Lions and a few months with the Minnesota Vikings. He says he'll sign a 2-year contract with the Eastern Riders in the next day or 2.
At this point in time in my career, I really felt like this was a good situation for me. It's going to allow me to be around it, to get throws, to make to stay in shape, to better myself as a football player. And I felt like at this time, this is the step I needed to make.
And Ware is not likely to play in Ottawa's final 2 games, one of which being against Saskatchewan, but he is expected to compete for the starting job against Danny Barrett in training camp next year. Well, you knew it was only a matter of time. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers will have a new look in the not-too-distant future.
After years of distinguished service, the W is headed the way of other letters, like the sorely missed R in Ottawa. It's a sad time for traditionalists, but for those doing business in the image-conscious 90s, it's a necessary step.
It's not something that we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We're adding to the image of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
The main impetus for the logo change is the sale of merchandise. It's big business, and the Bombers badly want a piece of it.
They're buying the new logos of the new teams, the Panthers, things along those lines, the Ducks. They send a very distinct message when you walk around outside and see what the kids are wearing today.
The new logo will be born out of a province-wide contest. Sorry, this one's already taken by Baltimore.
Well, Week 7 of the NFL season closed out tonight in Philadelphia. The 4-2 Eagles hosting the 1-5 Houston Oilers. Let's go to Philadelphia, see what happened. Visiting Oilers on the move. First quarter, Cody Carlson back at the helm after missing 3 games. He got the offense into position, but Houston only managed a field goal to make it 3-0. Eagles threatening. Second quarter, 4th and goal from the 1. Randall Cunningham throws an incomplete. And it's still 3-0, but shortly after, Cody Carlson will be picked off by Philadelphia's Eric Allen. And after some weaving and whatever he does through traffic, he brings it back 17 yards inside Houston's 20-yard line. This time the Eagles would punch it in from the 1. Rookie Charlie Garner gets the call to make it 7-3 Philadelphia. It was 7-6 at the half. Third quarter, they opened it up a little bit. Randall Cunningham and Fred Barnett hooking up. Barnett trying to make up for 1993 when he missed 12 games because of an injury. 187 yards on the night for the Eagles receiver. Later, Barnett on the receiving end again, this time 53 yards worth and a touchdown to boot. Great effort by Fred Barnett, 14-6 Philadelphia. To the 4th, Cunningham this time looks James Joseph's way, 35-yard major. And he gets into the end zone, 21-6 Philadelphia. That was the final. Eagles are 5-2. The Oilers dropped to 1-6. And you got to think they're begging Minnesota to give Warren Moon back. 21-6 the final tonight. For the first time in Major League history, the National League's Cy Young Award winner is the same person. Over the last 3 years, Atlanta Braves pitcher Greg Maddux was 16-6 this strike-shortened season. His ERA was an incredible 1.56. He was the unanimous choice by the writers, who made him the NL's best pitcher for the 3rd consecutive year. Montreal's Ken Hill was second in the voting. On the NHL labor front, the 2 union heads met face-to-face for the first time in a couple of weeks today. Gary Bettman and Bob Goodenow met for a few hours basically to discuss when they could meet again. No date has been set. Meanwhile, another hard luck story because of the NHL lockout. Businesses pay a lot of money to advertise on sideboards in the arenas, and when there are no games, they of course want their money back. Ken Daniels has more.
The signs are everywhere at Maple Leaf Gardens, on the ice, on the boards, over the exits, and up in the seats. But the telltale sign is here. No bodies in the seats to see them, and millions more aren't seeing them on their television screens. And when you're paying as much as $215,000 for a pair of rink board signs based on TV exposure, it's time to call for a credit, which means teams are losing money they had counted on, trying to treat advertisers as fairly as possible.
The smart teams will think long-term, and the less smart teams will think short-term.
Rich Bremner is president of Core Media, in charge of selling advertising space at NHL hockey arenas across Canada.
If they have to start giving money back, it's like losing gate receipts. It's like losing souvenir revenue, food concession revenue. It's just part of the overall picture. It's probably the second biggest revenue generator to each club outside of gate receipts in arena signage.
And General Motors feels the hit as well. After all, the company has lost its target audience, the hockey fan, in the arena and at home.
Those are associations that don't die easily. Unfortunately, right now, it's like a forced separation in that neither one of us can be together, the company and our customers. And hockey is a really valuable fit for our products, for General Motors products, as well as many other products.
And for the first time this year, the official game program of the Toronto Maple Leafs is also available on retail stands outside the Gardens. The timing less than perfect, with production expenses up to $1.7 million.
We've invested probably $250,000, $300,000 just getting the first issue on newsstand and ready for the first 10 games at Maple Leaf Gardens. And if they don't play hockey again, we'll have a financial situation that most people wouldn't envy. On the other hand, for collectors, if it's the only book ever produced for this season, go out and buy one right now.
Ken Daniels, CBC Sports.
Well, he didn't get Marty McSorley, but Bob Strum managed to lasso one NHL big name. Strum, formerly of the Regina Pats, who is now the GM of the IHL's Las Vegas Thunder, has lured Alexei Yashin to Gambler's Paradise. Last season's NHL Rookie of the Year runner-up signed a one-year contract with the Thunder, becoming the first NHL player to jump to the ice since the lockout began October 1st. He's also the second Ottawa Senator on the Las Vegas roster. The Senators' first overall pick in the draft last year, Radek Bonk, also plays in Las Vegas. University football rankings released today. The Saskatchewan Huskies, after a 56-42 win over Manitoba on the weekend at Griffith Stadium, they remain third in the country. They were third last week. They are still third, and they're getting ready for playoff time. The Huskies are. High school football in Regina tonight. It was O'Neill over Leboldus 35-19. Campbell defeated Tom 22-6. 3A semifinals tonight. Weyburn blanking Luther 3-0. Not exactly the offensive display there, but you know, when the weather is getting colder, the football is getting better. It's playoff time in Saskatchewan. Nermal, that's sports.
Thanks, Glenn. And that's CBC News Final for tonight. Join Holly Preston and Costa Marigas tomorrow at 6 on the CBC News Hour. Thanks for watching and good night.
Good night.
You're watching CBC Television in Saskatchewan.
We asked some of the hottest guys in town to trade their deodorant for Degree deodorant. Let's give it a shot. As your body heat rises, only Degree releases extra protection against odor.
I'm going to stick to Degree. Stuff works.
Degree deodorant for a higher degree of odor protection.
Fine looking dog you got there, Jack.
Name's Poolan, after my trusty chainsaw.
That's Poland.
Oh, and to think he's been answering to the wrong name for all these years. Dang.
Do you know that Manitou Springs Mineral Spa has this magical water, and even if you can't swim, you can float in it? You can go shopping and then have a massage and then a float in the spa. Have a nice dinner at the hotel and check out these luxurious rooms. You can go cross-country skiing along the lakeshore. Manitou Springs Resort is about an hour from Saskatoon and 90 minutes from Regina. The fun never ends, and it's open year-round.
reduce pollution in the air. Brian McDermott drives on Mohawk's cleaner burning, ethanol blended gasoline made with prairie grain. That is, when it's his turn to drive. Mohawk, Mother Nature's gas station.
Saskatoon's Paul Diederich, part of the CBC NewsHour team.